Hi there, Tarbuck Transom from the Arch, doing a guest spot to respond to a video that we just shot. We're teaching him how to do vlogs. Anyway, look at my other channels, give me money. Okay, so you mentioned that it's ludicrous to have to try for an objective view of something when you're approaching fiction. Do you remember that? That was really early on.
Yeah. Can I qualify that?
Yeah, go ahead.
No one can be completely objective and have none of their personality put in there totally, I don't believe. Mm-hmm. I think you should do that to a certain extent, unless you're a complete narcissist and that's your aim. Then, hey, knock yourself out. If that's your aim, great. But if you want people to respond and want to create kind of an open situation, you need to dial it back, but there's a certain amount of element of yourself that is automatically going to translate through, and there's nothing wrong with that, as long as that's not the whole emphasis. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I don't fully disagree with that. My little objection is that there's a way to look at objectivity that ought to be strived for. Hi, Mask. I'm cribbing your argument, so I'm probably going to misrepresent it. Go ahead and leave a comment where you tell me how to do it right. People talk about objectivity as though it's fully impossible. Digibro talked about this kind of thing a lot. But that's without exploring too much of what an objective view would even look like. And I think the best way to start to imagine that is, how would you explore this thing if you had zero context to it? And that doesn't mean like if you want to make an apple pie from scratch, invent the universe like Sagan, but
right.
Like you don't have to go that far back. But questioning the foundations of why you look at it the way that you look at it can help you to unbuild a lot of that and get arbitrarily close to objectivity. And as you know from calculus, which you definitely have taken, if you can get arbitrarily close to something, that is to equal the thing.
Okay.
What do you think?
I didn't take calculus, so I don't have a response to that. I do have a response to what you just said. You talked about the kind of being away from it. Mm-hmm. And I think it's really good to question your assumptions, to question your worldview and stuff like that. I think that's important. And that's not natural. What do they say? The first law of behavior is that your energy follows your attention. But the second law is that introspection is not natural. And I think we can improve ourselves when we introspect. But even a newscaster's bad idea, especially lately, because it's all about the narrative, right? But even go back to the 50s.
What do you mean lately?
Well, I mean lately for me and lately for you are very different things. Lately to me is before you were born. So, but there's a whole lot of aspects to any given story that there's no way they'd be able to condense into the time slot. So they have to choose what goes in and what goes out. Part of that is going to be determined by your worldview. Because you're going to say, oh, that's not important. That is. Well, that's a value judgment. No one's going to drink from a fire hose when it comes to news because it's just too much. It's like, oh my gosh, just get down to it and tell the common sense story. Well, one person's common sense is not the same as another. So everything is going to be flavored. I think the attempt to try to be pretty objective is good. I think the thought that you can completely do that, maybe a little unrealistic.
For something that you're interacting with live, like the news even, sure, that's impractical, if not impossible. And impractical is all you have to get to in order to rule it out.
Right.
But for fiction, you can spend arbitrarily long on your fiction. You can continue carving out pieces and looking at it from different directions until you can approximate an objective viewpoint. Because you have forever until you publish to look at and question the inner pieces of the thing that you're producing to identify something and then remove it.
In the military, there's a saying, the perfect is the enemy of the good. Mm-hmm. You could do that to death and spend your whole time doing that. It's not perfect yet. It's not perfect yet. You're never going to get there.
Well, my bros just sent me that same thing in an email. Okay,
well, there you go. The perfect is the enemy of the good. Now, there are bad ways to do it. I watched a gloriously awful movie from, I believe, the 1980s called Rotor. If you haven't seen it, seriously take the time and get ready to mock it. It is awful. There are something like 4 or 5 intros to it. You're not, oh, we're going to start the story. No, that's more narration. Okay, now they're still talking about, it's still, they do the name and the date and the location like 4 different times before the story actually begins. It's just like, oh my gosh, but it's hilarious. It makes it hilarious. It makes it just awful.
And speaking of bad movies, they're really good. I have to point you towards this movie whose title that I forget, but it's going to be right here. And if you think it's a great idea to have RoboCop, Princess Mononoke, and Billy Idol fight an army of cybernetic demons, you should watch that movie.
Oh, wow. Okay, I get it. I gotta see this.
I've got a score to settle.
Let the games begin!
Sorry for crashing your patty.
I'd rather be dead.
We have so much in common.
It's not about the killing. It's about family.
Pretty good, huh?
My name is Manborg.
Daimon.
I gotta see this. That's, wow.
Yeah.
Colossally bad. I can't eat popcorn anymore, though, because I have diverticulitis, but I'll bring some sort of snack.
Overshare.
Well,
it's your channel. Overshare. There's no, we're not crossing a boundary until we put a camera inside you.
Right. All right, this episode is all about the colonoscopy. Yeah. That was too far.
Well, actually, people have done that.
People have done that.
On YouTube, in fact.
It would make a really fun ride at Disney. Whee! Grab a diverticulum on the way over. Oh, look, a strawberry seed.
That's begging for safety concerns.
Yes, it is. Everybody's in hazmat suits, but they fog up so easily, so it's really hard to enjoy your environment.
Yeah. Is the fog on the inside or on the outside?
A little of both. And we say moisture.
Okay. So, objectivity. Yeah.
Yes, objectivity. What's the opposite of objectivity? Subjectivity. And some subjectivity isn't all bad. There again, there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. We're back to telling your audience what to think, and which I don't recommend. Certain books won't tell you what to think, but they will, because they're so preachy. One such book was Dan K. Brown's Da Vinci Code. Mm-hmm. Where it was like, well, anybody that knows about anything in this subject will obviously come to this conclusion, and everyone else is moron. So I'm not telling you what to think, but there's a clear path.
And it doesn't help that it was also full of lies.
Well, the very first page, they always say, this is an active fiction. What are you so upset about? Okay, first page of the book says fact. And then it lists a whole bunch of things that are completely not facts. Including the organization that they cited turned out to be a complete hoax. Sorry, Dan King Brown, but not really sorry.
I really liked that book when I was 15 and I read it the first time.
Well, I thought the movie was so much better because in the book it was so preachy because there was no controversy.
If I post a picture on Twitter in the near future and I'm flat, it's because he and I fought over how much I hate that movie.
I thought the movie was better than the book in this respect. That, I'll go the movie. When Tom Hanks is arguing with Ian McKellen, there's a controversy. They disagree. That's more realistic. And then you're able to watch from the disagreement and kind of decide which way you want to go. In the book, it told you which way to go. And you should never tell your reader what to think.
All right.
Oh, got no answer for that one, do you?
Well, I think the video's probably run long enough. I mean, I didn't prepare for this, and I'm like, I'm cribbing your arguments.
Right.
And
the secret to originality is forgetting your sources, which doesn't help because you cited your sources in the beginning. So,
yeah,
I guess he's not original.
Independent discovery.
Yes.
Yeah, and for something that's really preachy, watch the preachy episode of my Let's Play channel. It's not actually called titled that, but
it should be a subtitle, and when you watch it, you'll see.
Yeah. Anyway, this has been a lesson in having friends outside of your age group. Get action.